In the winter of 1770, a crippled British ship spent 7 weeks beached on a river in Far North Queensland. 2 records survive of those same 7 weeks. One was written on the deck, in ink, by the men who limped the ship ashore. The other was carried on the shore, in memory, by the people who watched them the whole time. This is both, read side by side. It began as a disaster. Just before midnight on the 11th of June, the ship struck a reef off Cape Tribulation and stuck fast on the coral. For nearly a full day she hung there, timbers grinding, taking water faster than the pumps could throw it back. To lighten her, the crew threw almost 50 tons over the side. Stores, ballast, 6 iron cannon rolled off the deck into the dark. Then they dragged a sail packed with wool and dung beneath the hull, so the sea itself would press the mess into the wound. It held. The leak slowed just enough. Barely afloat, low and heavy in the water, she crawled some 40 miles north to a river mouth. And there, her real story begins. The ship's log gives the place a name, the Endeavour River, after the ship it saved. The shore already had one, Wallumball on the country of the Guugu Yimithirr people. Cook did not know he had beached his ship in the middle of someone else's law. That is the whole story in miniature. 1 river, 2 names, 2 ledgers about to be opened on the same events. The shore's record opens first, and it opens in silence. For roughly 3 weeks, the Guugu Yimithirr watched the white-sailed thing on their river and did not approach. This was the longest single stop of the entire voyage, nearly 7 weeks beached, and for the first half of it, the watchers gave no sign at all. In their reading, the pale figures were Wangar, ancestors, come back from the east, the direction of the dead. And you do not rush out to meet the returning dead. You watch, you wait. You learn what they do and how they move, and you take their measure before you show yourself. The men on the deck, scraping barnacles and cursing the heat, had no idea they were being studied at all. Then, contact, and something rare. The deck log fills with words. Banks and the officers write down close to 50 Guugu Yimithirr terms, the first real European record of an Aboriginal language. Among them, the name of a strange, leaping animal, Gangurru. You know it now as kangaroo. And here we kill a myth in one line. It never meant I don't know. Gangurru was always a real word for a real animal. Proof that on this river, for a while, both sides were genuinely trying to understand each other. The break, when it comes over turtles. The crew, stocking up for the long haul north through unknown waters, take 12 large green turtles from the reef, some of them 200 and 300 pounds. Banks is delighted. He writes that they now swim in plenty. But the deck's good fortune is the shore's catastrophe. That reef was a green turtle breeding ground, and this was the mating season, the exact turtles, at the exact moment, that the country depended on to renew itself. To the crew, it is meat in the hold. To the Guugu Yimithirr, it is not a supply run at all. It is a wound to the country itself. 10 Guugu Yimithirr men are invited aboard. Eric Deeral, who carried this account, tells the shore's version. To their horror, they see the turtles stacked on the deck. They ask for one. They are refused. Banks writes the same moment from the deck. The men ask by signs, are refused, and show, in his words, great marks of resentment. One man stamps his foot and pushes Banks away with a face full of disdain. Both men describe the same instant. Only one of them understands what has just been broken.
This wall is 102 cases most channels never bother to translate. Subscribe for the next one. And now, back to where you left off.
Then, the fire. The Guugu Yimithirr set the grass alight around the camp. To the crew, this is arson, an attack on their stores. To the shore, fire is a tool of law, used to cleanse country and to make a point. Banks records how fast it moves, and Cook answers it the way his world answered everything. He fires his musket, loaded with small shot, at one of the men, and wounds him. In his own hand. One must have been a little hurt because we saw blood. 2 ledgers had run in parallel for 7 weeks. Here they tear. About an hour later, A single figure walks out toward the armed men, not the little old man of the tidy retelling, a warrior with standing in his clan. His name comes down to us in more than one spelling, so we will not pretend to fix it. He carries a spear with the point broken off, weapons down. He stops. He draws moisture from beneath his arm and draws it through his fingers, across his mouth, aright the custodian's name Galangundama. Harold Ludwick describes it plainly. The elder was blowing his scent over the strangers, the way you settle newcomers onto country. It resets things. It makes everyone equal. Then the others lean their spears against a tree and come forward, unarmed. Cook responds with the one gesture that lands. He returns the spears his men had taken. And in his journal that night, he writes 4 words that would outlive him. It reconciled everything. Alberta Hornsby, carrying the shore's memory, sees exactly what he did and why it worked. Those spears mattered to the Bama, and he gave them back. It was, she says, a physical thing, a real thing. For one moment the 2 logs agree, but agreement is not the same as understanding. Cook believed he had smoothed over a quarrel, a dispute settled, a page turned. The shore understood something else entirely. A point of law had been honored. Blood had been spilled on Wamber, ground where no blood was to fall, and the return of the spears had begun to set the balance right. Same event, same rocks. 2 completely different things had just happened. Australia would later call this the first documented act of reconciliation on the continent. The National Trust nominated the site to the National Heritage List. The place is Reconciliation Rocks in Cooktown, and the Guugu Yimithirr have reenacted that moment every single year since 1959. Freddie Deeral walking out as the elder, spear broken, again and again, so the story cannot be lost. And here's the strange turn at the heart of it. To keep their own history straight, the custodians, Eric Deeral, Alberta Hornsby, and others, went back to Cook's journals. They used the colonizers' own record as evidence of their connection to country. 2 logs, written to be forever apart, are now read together, line against line. And in 2026, more than 3,000 hectares of that country, including the very ground where the ship once lay on its side, were handed back to the Guugu Yimithirr people. 256 years to finish reading a single page.